Hello, welcome to QUT News.
Hello?
A 31-year murder cold case looks to have been solved. Police say Sharon Phillips was murdered by a taxi driver who picked her up on the night of May 9th, 1986. The young woman's never been seen again.
It's a major breakthrough in one of Queensland's longest ever cold cases. Sharon Phillips was 20 when she disappeared in 1986 after her car ran out of petrol in Wacol late at night. 31 years later, Detective Inspector Damien Hanson has no doubt Raymond Peter Mulvihill, a taxi driver who died 15 years ago, killed Sharon Phillips.
If Raymond Peter Mulvihill was alive today, he would be arrested for the murder of Sharon Phillips.
The investigation was reopened by police in 2016 after a tip-off. A search of land at Carroll Park followed, but soil taken from 2 drains failed to find any trace of human remains. Police today ruled out Sharon's father as a person of interest.
I can say from the evidence available, there is no evidence at all that would implicate Bob Phillips with the murder of Sharon.
It is still not known whether Mulvihill had an accomplice. Investigators now want to talk to anyone who lives near Mulvihill in Russell Drive, Redbank Plains, at the time Sharon Phillips disappeared.
We will continue to investigate the possibility any other person has been involved, any person has assisted him, and we will always continue to search for Sharon's remains.
Anyone with information is urged to contact Crime Stoppers. Tiana Barmer, QUT News.
The United States may finally take one small step to prevent mass shootings following the Las Vegas tragedy. There are plans to ban devices that turn semi-automatic weapons into fully automatic.
The sound of rapid gunfire rang out over the Las Vegas Strip. It's now apparent that the shooter, Stephen Paddock, had converted his semi-automatic weapons to fully automatic using what's called a bump stock device. Now that device may be banned.
We know that both members of both parties in multiple organizations are planning to take a look at bump stocks and related devices. We certainly welcome that, would like to be part of that conversation.
Even the National Rifle Association and gun enthusiasts have given tentative support.
There is no reason for them to be able to buy accessories for their gun, which makes the gun almost fully automatic. There's just no reason for it.
Meanwhile, authorities have confirmed that Paddock rented a room in the Ogden Hotel during another music festival in what apparently was a dry run.
Reasons that ran through Paddock's mind is unknown, but it was directly during the same time as Life is Beautiful.
That festival lineup included well-known acts Wiz Khalifa and Lorde. In a sign of America's love for firearms, shares in gun manufacturers have risen since the shooting, as gun owners rush to buy weapons, fearing tighter controls. Ironically, the industry has suffered from slow sales recently. Dominic, QUT News.
A man has died in hospital after being stabbed in a road rage incident in Brisbane. Paramedics had to resuscitate the man by the side of Milton Road. He was then raced to hospital under police escort. The man and his mate were attempting to cross the road when there was an altercation with a car driver. Police say the driver got out and stabbed the victim multiple times in the stomach and back. The driver and his female passenger then fled the scene. Police want anyone with dashcam footage to contact them.
Cardinal George Pell has returned to Melbourne Court briefly on historic sex charges. Australia's most senior Catholic was surrounded by security.
The scene was similar to Cardinal Pell's first appearance in July, a ring of police and a pack of media. Police had been considering an alternative entrance for him, but he arrived via the front steps, moving at a slow pace.
Keep walking.
The short hearing confirmed the details of next year's full committal hearing, where more than 40 witnesses will give evidence over 4 weeks. At that time, the court will decide if the former Vatican treasurer should stand trial. Police cordoned off the court entrance early and blocked part of the road outside. Media waited for hours to secure a seat in the courtroom. Cardinal Pell is the most senior Catholic official to face such charges. The exact details have not been made public. Pell has taken leave from the Vatican and has denied all charges. He's indicated he would be in court whenever the case arose, rather than just sending lawyers. Natalie Brown, QUT News.
Independent Senator Nick Xenophon says he will quit federal politics as a cloud hangs over his citizenship. The senator made his surprise announcement Friday morning. He's going to return to state politics. His SA Best Party will try to gain the balance of power in South Australia's Parliament.
I've decided that you can't fix South Australia's problems in Canberra without first fixing our broken system, our broken political system back home.
It's a return home for the senator. He had served in state politics for 10 years before moving to Canberra.
The state government has raised new concerns about what is described as excessive tree clearing across Queensland. A new report claims almost 400,000 hectares were cleared last financial year, but the farmers' lobby group AgForce begs to differ.
The statewide land cover and tree study claims tree clearing has soared by nearly 50%, particularly in the Great Barrier Reef catchments. Deputy Premier Jackie Trad and Environment Minister Stephen Miles claim the current rate of land clearing is driving native wildlife to extinction, risking tens of thousands of jobs and increasing greenhouse gas emissions.
Data in this report is nothing short of devastating. It's even worse than I had ever feared.
The Labor government is blaming the opposition for the large increase.
From the last full year of Labor being in office in 2011-12, tree clearing in Queensland has quadrupled.
But farmers' lobby group AgForce says the report is flawed.
Well, obviously we're very disappointed. I mean, this is just another example of every time we come to a state election, this issue comes up about tree clearing.
The report reveals less than 0.25% of Queensland's total land area was cleared. However, the Labor Party maintains this is still a concerning number. AgForce has also released a Healthy Environment, Healthy Agriculture policy in a bid to end vegetation management laws being used as a political football in the lead-up to every election. Ashley Press, QUT News.
Plans have been unveiled for a dramatic redevelopment of Redcliffe foreshore. It includes an inflatable water park off the coast, but not everyone is in favour of the project.
The master plan will stretch 15 kilometres and cover 30 parks of Redcliffe's foreshore. Mayor Alan Sutherland says it will be a magnet for visitors.
I think competition, events, festivals, they bring more people to the region and it brings back repeat business.
But local businesses beg to differ. They say they've done the hard yards and deserve better.
It took us 12 months to get through council with Moreton Bay to be able to open our doors, and a lot of red tape and very hefty prices.
It'll kill us. It'll kill the whole lot of us. We'll all go out of business. We're all paying rents, massive rents. We've all got high overheads that food trucks don't have.
But Mr Sutherland says he wants the best for everyone.
We'll work with the businesses, we'll work with the traders to make sure that we get some good outcomes.
Council received more than 600 online survey responses and almost 200 ideas from public displays, labelling the water park as the overwhelming preference with school holidays just around the corner.
The foreshore trial will run for a 3-month period with plans to become an annual event. Charmaine Mifsud, QUT News.
Brisbane City Council is offering a subsidy if you have your pet microchipped. So far this year, more than 1,500 unidentifiable pets have been impounded. City Hall says the deal will save you money and keep your pet safe.
At just $30, it's never been so cheap to protect your four-legged friend. Councillor Matthew Burke is encouraging all pet owners to take advantage of the subsidy.
One way you can do this is by making sure your dog or cat is microchipped. It'll make it easier for us if your dog does become lost or cat does become lost to return that animal to you.
John Haynes lost his dog Geisha for 8 weeks and thought she was gone forever.
We had the great call from the Bald Hills Brisbane City Council Refuge to say they'd found her, and that's almost as happy as getting married.
He says all pet owners should get on board.
If you love your dog, you would have it microchipped, and you would also register it with the Australian Animal Register.
By law, all cats and dogs should be microchipped before 12 weeks of age. The first microchipping event will be held this Saturday at Boyd Park in Nunda. If you register online, you could save up to $80. Councillor Burke says the procedure is painless and harmless, perfect for your four-legged friend. Vivian Topalovic, QUT News.
More than 90 of Brisbane's historic properties will open their doors for the public this weekend. The open house weekend launched today with an exclusive tour of the old Peter's Ice Cream Factory in South Brisbane. The building was home to the ice cream company for 68 years, but now earmarked for a major redevelopment.
It's pretty beautiful, isn't it? And I love the background history to this place, so it's nice to get a bit more insight. I feel like we know the space pretty well.
Other properties open for inspection include Parliament House and the Tower of Power at 1 William Street.
Brazilian police have arrested the nation's top Olympic official in a bribe scandal. It's claimed he helped buy the 2016 Olympics in Rio de Janeiro.
Investigators say Carlos Nuzman, who has led Brazil's Olympic Committee for 2 decades, helped arrange a $2 million bribe to get the 2016 Games. It was paid by a Brazilian businessman 2 days before Rio won the rights. The announcement was a triumph for the nation.
Se Nuzman efetivamente pegou em dinheiro.
I don't know if Nuzman did in fact take the cash. This is not a decisive factor to characterise it as a crime.
Nuzman is also accused of corruption, money laundering and failing to declare assets held abroad.
There was a correction to Carlos Arthur Nuzman's income tax to include 16 kilograms of gold that was deposited in Switzerland.
A judge has said Mr. Nuzman's wealth has grown by 416% over the last 10 years, and investigators don't know why. Leonardo Grana, former Chief Operating Officer of Rio 2016, was arrested on the same charges. Natalie Brown, QUT News.
One of Spain's highest courts has suspended a session of Catalan's parliament to prevent a declaration of independence. After the banned referendum and violent street protests around it, the parliament was planning unilateral independence from Spain. But the Constitutional Court has ruled the parliament session next week can't go ahead. That's expected to aggravate the political crisis.
Yet another superstorm which is likely to become a hurricane is bearing down on the US coast. Meanwhile, Puerto Rico is still struggling to recover from Hurricane Maria.
Tropical Storm Nate is expected to move into the Gulf of Mexico and strengthen into a Category 1 hurricane quickly. It is then likely to bear down on the Louisiana coast, making landfall early Sunday.
So given these threats, I have declared a state of emergency for the city of New Orleans. While still uncertain, the latest forecast shows Nate strengthening and producing heavy winds and above-average rainfall.
The tropical storm has already inundated Central America and caused at least 3 deaths in Costa Rica. Meanwhile, the US territory of Puerto Rico is recovering very slowly after Hurricane Maria. Basic services are yet to be restored, and experts are now warning of a potential health crisis.
The problem that we have is that the lack of potable water, the lack of tap water, is forcing the population to collect water in whatever they can put their water on.
It's a lot of contamination here. The water is contaminated. There's a lot of mosquitoes here. We don't know if there's a lot of Zika or chikungunya going on.
Officials fear an outbreak of disease could spread quickly. Dominic, QUT News.
NASA astronauts have begun a series of spacewalks to repair the International Space Station. 2 of them left the station to work on a robotic arm in the first of 3 maintenance programs. Next, they'll look at replacing outside cameras. Expedition Commander Randy Brenzick will lead all the spacewalks. A down-to-earth Prince Charles is again at the forefront of an environmental initiative. This time he's speaking out about the destruction caused by plastics.
The Prince of Wales symbolically released loggerhead turtle Denise on Malta's Golden Bay. She'd been rehabilitated after swallowing plastic bags. The Prince has been outspoken on environmental issues for decades. He says we must change our thinking.
It's the way we've developed everything for convenience without always being aware of or thinking about the long-term consequences of those particular materials that we're using.
The Prince believes we're already seeing the effects of human damage to the normal processes of Mother Nature.
We're driving it insane. If you notice, everything gets angrier, more extreme, more violent, more impossible to cope with.
He worries about the world his grandchildren will inherit.
And it just seemed to me that I couldn't possibly face my grandchildren, or yours, at the end of the day when we've completely mucked up the whole of our environment.
The future King Charles wants everyone to fight for the planet we live on. Dominic, QUT News.
A group of Japanese volunteers have been collecting trash in Tokyo dressed only in loincloths. They want to inspire others to keep the city clean and also to turn to traditional Japanese underwear called fundoshi. When the weather turns cold, of course, they have been donning a coat as well. On this day, the volunteers were in one of Tokyo's biggest shopping areas, a hub for the nation's youth culture.
In sport, Kangaroos star Cooper Cronk has criticised Andrew Fifita's defection to Tonga. Cronk says he's disappointed about how the issue was handled.
Fifita dumped Australia's World Cup squad to play for his family heritage. But Cronk says the way he did it was disrespectful to coach Mal Meninga.
I reckon it's disappointing. I reckon it's poor. You want to talk about respect and carrying yourself in a respected manner.
Meanwhile, Josh Papali and Frank Pritchard have elected to play for Samoa after being overlooked by the Kangaroos. In the AFL, the free agency period begins today, with Port Adelaide's Jackson Trengrove submitting paperwork to the club. He is expected to sign with the Western Bulldogs. Bulldogs' Jack Stringer is expected to request to join Essendon in the next 24 hours. Mark Zita, QUT News.
Australian Socceroo players have slammed a penalty decision that denied them World Cup victory over Syria. They were up 1-0 5 minutes from the end of normal time and close to winning the vital first leg against Syria in Malaysia. Then the Iranian referee awarded a spot kick to the Syrians after Matthew Leckie leapt high for a ball.
And we're all tied up in this AFC World Cup qualifying playoff.
Australia plays Syria again in Sydney on Tuesday in the crucial second leg.
Supercar driver Scott McLaughlin has smashed the Mount Panorama lap record in pre-qualifying for the Bathurst race. It's been a day of hectic pace during pre-qualifying for the Bathurst 1000. There was the usual smash and crash as 6 cars came under Jamie Whincup's unofficial lap record. But McLaughlin finally recorded the fastest ever lap time, 2 minutes 4.147 seconds. Organisers now expect a fast race on Sunday.
The Diamonds have had a close win over rivals the Silver Ferns in the opening match of the Constellation Cup. The Aussies edged out New Zealand by just 3 goals. Our goal attacks Susan Petit and Stephanie Wood scored a combined 18 goals.
And obviously their crowd was super loud tonight, but credit to our team, we had cool heads under pressure.
The second game of the 4-test series will be held in Christchurch.
Just over a year after its official opening, QUT's second Creative Industries Precinct is well and truly thriving. The stunning facility is the home of dance, music and sound production students, and it's a daily hub of inspired creativity and learning.
It was designed to be a world-class learning institution, a building students love and want to work in.
They stay in the building, they work in the building, and you can walk in here any time of the day or night, pretty much on any day, and you'll see a group of students sitting down working together.
The 6-storey building provides a variety of presentation and display spaces, as well as extensive learning facilities. It's proving popular as a sought-after study option for dance, drama, music and visual arts. Action from the interior is brought into the exterior.
It's no longer a secret as to what goes on here. Before there were black boxes and people would disappear into them and then you never knew what went on. But now you actually see that creative process.
Study nooks and informal spaces are especially popular for social learning and workshops.
So these kind of what would otherwise be just utility spaces to get from one room to another become active spaces where the creative work continues.
Students say they're thriving in the new building and that it's better than they ever could have imagined.
The drama studios themselves, really nice, really well equipped.
It's got spaces for every kind of show you might need to present.
It's nice to
spend time with your friends doing your work and not having to be stuck in small rooms.
Staff agree the building has cemented QUT as Australia's leading teaching and learning institution for the creative industries. Laura Frendon, QUT News.
Hello, time to take a look at the weather. It was sunny but a little steamy around Brisbane today. Then this afternoon, a storm cell moved across the city and out to the coast. It brought strong winds and solid rain to Brisbane for about 20 minutes and even hail in some areas. Around the southeast today, we reached a top of 31 in Brisbane, 30 and 29 on the Gold and Sunshine Coasts, Ipswich 18 to 33 degrees. It's a bit of a dreary forecast in our capital cities tomorrow. Sydney, Canberra, Melbourne and Hobart will all be cloudy. Showers predicted for both Adelaide and Perth. And Darwin should expect storms with a top of 33. Tomorrow's forecast for Queensland centres, showers in Cairns, partly cloudy in Townsville with a top of 30. Mostly sunny days in Mackay, Rocky and Bundaberg, while Mount Isa and Longreach are expecting storms on Saturday. On Moreton Bay, expect 15 to 20 knot northerly winds and seas to around 1 metre. Sunrise is at 5:21. The sun will set at 10 to 6. If you're heading to the coast for the weekend, make sure you pack your beach brolly. The Bureau's predicting showers for both the Gold and Sunshine Coasts. Finally, a wet weekend ahead for Brisbane. Showers are expected tomorrow and Sunday, with the chance of a storm on Monday. That's the weather for now. Have a great weekend.
So-called geeks and nerds are making their way to New York's ComicCon festival. They call it the ultimate pop culture event.
ComicCon is dedicated to video games, toys, movies, television, and of course, comic books. And one of Manhattan's biggest convention centres will host the event over 4 days.
Whether it's TV or it's comics or it's video games or it's art, there's something here for everybody.
It's likely to draw over 200,000 fans across the long weekend.
Transcends everything, because you're a geek and you're a geek no matter who you are or what you look like or who you love, and that's the best part about being here is we all accept each other.
Big names like Disney and Marvel have staked their claim with large exhibitions, but there's also room for international talent like French comic book artist Alexis Centenac. He's showcasing his international flavour of comic book.
So it's really a different narration style. In France or in Europe, the pages are rounder with a lot of boxes, which allows for a different narration.
This year's breakthrough turnout will probably see fans overflow from the convention centre into Madison Square Garden and the Hammerstein Ballroom. It's a big achievement for what was the small event when it started in 2006. Ben Downey, QUT News.
That brings you up to date with QUT News. Goodbye for now.
Goodbye.